Let's go aloha. My name is Timmy Chang. I'm the head football coach at the University of Hawaii. My favorite thing to do on an off day, and the only thing to do on an off day, is hang out with the family, because my wife is in charge. I'm starting off with the veteran.
What's up?
All right, let's go.
Oh, no. What's the off season like now, and what's happening coming up for you guys?
Yeah, we're about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks out, or I think was it Thursday? Yeah, less than 2 weeks out. Getting ready to practice here very shortly. Check-in is on the 24th, and we're ready to go. And so it's coming around fast. The guys they've been prepping now for about 6 weeks. They took their break in May after school. They had a great spring, and so heading into year 3, a lot of expectation.
Did that work out, or did you like that huge gap between March and training camp?
Yeah, as a head coach, you got to figure out what your timing and what you were trying to develop, what you're trying to emphasize for us. We think last year we had 3 P5 teams that we played, or maybe 2, but size and getting bigger was definitely one that, when you're developing guys, when you're playing with freshmen, younger guys, you want them to get bigger, stronger, faster. And so, getting them in the weight room, spending more time there, getting them bigger, getting them stronger, was an emphasis of us, putting more food in their body, more protein, those type of things. And so spending the time there, spending the resources there was important to us.
And then finally, a lot of the coaches are talking about they're having problems, particularly this league, with players being poached. I think you saw that with your Australian punter and things like that. Are you finding, is that a concern, and how do you keep guys away from your players?
Yeah, I think the NCAA has to come down and really make some rules that it's not the Wild Wild West. I think every coach here will say that right now it's the governing of how things happen. I mean, whether it's street agents, and anybody can be an agent nowadays. How your players get, they get hit up on social media, they get hit up by, guys that are trying to get them to put them to the portal, and they're getting hit up a number of ways that there's no governing body that kind of enforces rules that will stop all this until we put some rules in place that, hey, these are the portal windows. Hey, these are the guys that may talk to you about getting into the portal. You're gonna and then there's no cap on how much money and how many resources that you can give a player. You're gonna continue to see it, and so. I think someone needs to step in and help that out. Or there's going to be a consistent movement on players, and then they, I can remember sitting in these meetings and let's make 2 portal dates, and 2 portal transfer windows, and then there's a rule that comes out very, very nonchalantly that they can transfer as many times as they want, and that wasn't the case. And so now, what's stopping a player from in 5 years jumping to 5 different schools? And so, you kind of opened up Pandora's box a little bit, and there's no rules that are kind of regulating it. And so, it's made for a different time in collegiate sports, not just football, but you've seen it at the basketball level as well, where guys are walking into jobs with just 2 guys on the roster, or And you talk about numbers of how much you're going to pay a guy before you even get them on campus. And so the Mountain West is and the coaches kind of if they're talking about what's their frustrations. I can just imagine we're 2,000 miles away, so there's kind of there's kind of a different culture or different feel out there for us, but we're not immune to it.
Hey, Coach, so you mentioned about just the transfer portal itself. What way do you think that, with the greater share of transfer portal from the competition, how would that affect the quarterback competition? And moving forward, is there any protocol to be sure players and players consider transfer?
Yeah, the first question with Braden. No, Braden's our guy. As you can, if you follow the way that I recruit, I'm loyal to Braden. I'm just not grabbing transfer guys and grabbing quarterbacks that are in the portal or junior college or those type of things to just put in the room. Very loyal to my guy. I believe in him. I believe in his ability to win games and run our offense and our offense goes through him. When you got a guy in this type of offense that can sling it and distribute the ball, you're going to be well off. And so I believe in him. He's our guy. Second part of your question is.
Moving forward, is there any protocol for cleaner communication when it comes for players transfers?
Yeah, there's when the kid says he wants to make a decision, he's gonna make the decision and he's gonna go. You kind of wonder, when those conversations started to happen, and who's getting involved in those conversations on making the decision to leave, and so we want to protect ourselves, and we want what's best for the player. In reality, you should be in building a program, you should want what's best for your student athletes and your guys in your locker room. And so providing that is important.
Year 3 for you, what are the changes for a much improved season?
Year 3 is just, we're just more comfortable in who we are, what we're doing. We have a standard. We understand what we're doing. We're understanding our discipline. We're understanding the choices we got to make to get better. And it's just every day getting better at it. Those guys been through the fire for the last 2 years. And so going into year 3 with 9 guys coming back on offense, 8 on defense, those guys been through it. And so we're leaning on that experience.
How you guys finished the season last year, do you find it easier for the message of belief that these guys can believe that these things that you've been talking about for years can happen?
Yeah, Rob, you hit it right on the head, man. It's a belief. It's a belief in themselves. It's a belief that they can do it. It's a belief that even though it hasn't been done, they haven't seen it. It's things that we talk about in our meetings. You haven't done it yet, but believe that it's going to happen. The work that you put in, day in and day out. You guys relying on each other, you guys going through the fire together, you guys know what it looks like, you guys know what you have to do. Believe in that and trust in that, and it'll happen. And so that's the biggest message that we have in our locker room right now.
How big was the veteran coaching that you brought into your staff this year? A lot of experience and guys that you've had relationships with.
Yep.
How much do you think that's going to play a big role this season?
Huge, because they've been through it, they've seen it, they've done it. Just as much as our players have been through it the last 2 years. These guys you're talking about 30, 40 years of coaching experience each. The 3 guys I brought in, you got over 100 years of coaching experience. And just seeing it, they know what it looks like. The game doesn't change. All these outside factors kind of influence the game, but really when it gets down to the nitty gritty of football, things don't change. You gotta do the common things, and you need everybody doing it at a high level. And so these guys understand that, and they know how to get their guys ready. And so they've been a good calming presence over our staff as well as our players.
And is there pride, UH quarterback fraternity with Coach Ken in the conference now? And I know it's someone that you relied on and looked up to as far as becoming a coach. And just how cool is that? 2 former UH quarterbacks, head coaches, and all that.
And it goes even deeper into that. My father coached Coach Kenny at Radford, and unbelievable. I mean, it says that I'm one of the higher tenured guys in the Mountain West, but I look in the room and I see him sitting there. I mean, a Hawaii guy and with local roots. I mean, it's pretty exciting. And then, they got a very similar offense to us, and it's going to be fun to watch them. I know every opponent that I play, that the University of Hawaii plays, and every opponent that they play, whatever we have times to, that'll be a game that we're going to watch and pay close attention to, with the similarities of how close we are.
How special is it? Obviously, Rowan got injured last year. You said, he's your loudest player, maybe even your dirtiest. But to have him be back from injury, coming from a JUCO, it was last year now. How imperative is he to your defense and the team?
Oh, I mean, to the defense and to the team. I mean, you can't get players like Logan Taylor and stories like his. As you said, coming from a JUCO, coming from Southern Utah. I didn't know all those things. I know the man I see today. The father of two, the preacher, the guy standing in front of hundreds of people on Sundays, preaching the good man's word, as well as bringing and congregating his teammates together and just being a leader. I mean, you cannot duplicate that. And that there's only one Logan Taylor. I'm so happy to have him back. And unfortunately, from an ACL injury that he's still overcoming, but his presence and his understanding of what we want and expectations of what we want, he truly understands. And he's the reason why we're next year, I don't know what our record. Well, we'll be talking about what our record is, but he's putting us in position to be successful.
And with obviously COVID ruined a lot of people's lives, especially a lot of high school kids. Some of them didn't even play maybe 2 years of high school football. How do you kind of nurture that group and those freshmen, maybe even transfers, whoever, to kind of just acclimate them to just being at the college level and knowing, okay, football is not going to be taken from you? How do you kind of deal with that and also try to have the seniors tell them, look, this is the standard for the program?
Yeah, the players that have lived through it, that have moved on, and the last of the COVID players that are going through it. I mean, it was just such a unique time, these guys, in their fifth, sixth year and plus, they've got to experience something different and put a notch underneath their belt. These young guys coming out, they don't know any different. But the development is still the same. You lean on your experienced guys to help to teach them the ways of what your locker room should look like, what your discipline should look like every day, and what the expectations should be, and hold them accountable to that. And so, in Hawaii as well. I mean, we were kind of the last ones to get out of COVID, and so these guys have been going through something different. Couple head coaching changes, a couple different offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, but they've been consistent and they withstood the test of time, and so I'm excited about that.
In regards to NIL, how has the community supported the team? Because obviously NIL could be different, whether it's buildings, weight room equipment, whatever, but like how have local restaurants, whatever, supported the team in regards to that?
Yeah, I mean, Hawaii is very unique, and so just for instance, we started with the help of Ryan Tanaka, an entrepreneur in Hawaii. We started this thing called Brotherhood Grinds, and it was one to help feed the kids and get more food into their bodies and get them bigger and stronger and faster and all those things. But it's really helped to develop a different type of niche on developing a life after football. And so not only do we have 30 plus restaurants participating in feeding the kids every week, we have about 30 different businesses from lawyers to real estate people to developers to Congress people that all help in developing life after football. And so I'm sure 130 different teams, you'll find 130 different ways on how people are using NIL, but that's just an example of what we're doing out there in Hawaii and just building life after football.
And lastly, with the NCAA, the video game coming out, how many of your players have you had to school and let them know, like, yeah, those are all my records?
Oh no, and I try. I don't ever put those things out in their face, because I want them to be their own person. But how cool is it that our guys get to start to play themselves, play our playbooks, play our conference foes, play different teams in different areas, and really, video games, and it's a part of our culture. I bond with it over I bond a Fortnite over with my kids. And to now play Madden and now getting the NCAA game back. How cool is that for our guys? I'm excited for all student athletes across the country to start playing, and I know they're excited as well.
Anybody try to play against you in NCAA? Did anybody call you out on the team yet?
No, I definitely call them out in team meetings, and they know they don't want that smoke.
But you mentioned some of the new additions to your coaching staff. Dan Marson coming back, Jeff Reinbold.
Yep.
And then on the defensive side, Coach Thurman really putting in this simplistic system that lets the guys shine. How are you looking forward to that and seeing your team come through this crisis?
Yeah, the experience that those guys bring is unparalleled. The Dan's wisdom and knowledge. I mean, every day you're in the meeting room with him, it's like there's a history and story behind that play and where where it started, what we've done, where it's evolved to. You don't get that with everybody. The different quarterbacks, the different styles of quarterbacks. From even just recently with Jeremiah Masoli to PJ Walker to Danucci, and then it comes all the way back to Shaker, and then we're watching film of me and Colt from 2000 to 2007. I mean, it's full circle with him. And there's not one day we don't talk about June and what June thought. And so I recently reached out to June, and I want June around our program. Just inducted him into the Hall of Fame, and I would love for him to be around our program, especially in our meeting rooms as we talk about the strategies and different things on how we attack different things and what June thought. There's not a day we go by we don't talk about June and what he thought and all these other things. But Dennis on the other side, I mean, what a wealth of experience. Coaching some of the best, and game planning against some of the best, and so it's pretty cool. I mean, the Mountain West standard of coaches, with Dirk Cutter calling plays at Boise, I mean it's really high. It's high level, and then let the chess game begin in 2 weeks.
Speaking of high standards, Braden Shaker coming back, went through his trials and tribulations. Now he's fully entrenched. He spoke highly of you and being such an elite quarterback in your day. And what part of your job do you enjoy the most? Is it mentoring guys like Braden and really kind of developing these new quarterbacks?
It's not just the quarterbacks. I enjoy, helping Braden and talking with Braden and putting my imprint on him. And I'm just one of many. Dan's another one that comes in and hits him at another angle. I have a young coach in Cade Sosha, who I think the world of that hits him in another angle. But I think the best part about all our jobs is really impacting young men, and building them. I mean, I made a point yesterday to kind of get up here a little bit early before our meetings and talk to and say hello to all the different players that we're going to play and not play and welcome them and good luck this season. And, I'm running to my former player, Torrey Horton, who happens to be one of the best receivers in the country, and we're shaking hands and I'm telling him, yeah, come stay with me. I don't think Jay would have let you stay with me earlier, but yeah, when you're done playing, come stay in my house, But I enjoy that, I enjoy the relationships. That's the biggest enjoyment that I get from coaching.
Awesome, thank you.
Coach, I just have 3 quick questions.
Yep.
Have kicking and punting spots been set, or is it an open competition?
Both are open.
And then any standouts? Any with the kicking and punting, have there been kind of a shakedown or a sense that you have early?
No. I have a feeling this thing's going to go all the way down to the training camp, and we're gonna fabricate some put them in some tough positions that'll bring the best out of them, and you'll see, like, these are pressure situations. I mean, the last play of our season last year was our kicker kicking a game winner with time running down on the clock, and so we'll put them in some pressure situations like that to make sure they can handle.
Excellent. Thinking back to when you played, would shortened trips and charter flights have helped in some way?
100%. Yep. And so, when you're out here in the States, you can leave, you can practice at your facility Friday and leave day of and wake up the next day, get ready to play, get right back on the flight. So the shortness definitely helps. Charters do help as well.
And if that change becomes permanent, do you think it will help recruiting or retaining players?
Not sure what everybody's into looking forward.
Okay, and then this last question is in Hawaiian Pidgin. It's from a reader, so I apologize if I butcher it. Whole brother Timmy, when Nele Baga on Reddit want to know which of your KK stea da Kolone one?
Oh, Kolohe?
Kolohe.
My Kolohe child has to be my youngest.
Okay.
And her name is Adriana, and she's going to be 3 this year. And though she's 3, she's going to be 4 this year. She absolutely runs the family.
And then I'm not sure if I misinterpreted the reader's question. What about on the team?
The Kolohe one, though, the Kolohe one used to be Logan Taylor for sure. But he's our spiritual leader. I don't really have too much Kolohe ones. If I did know, they probably wouldn't be on the team. And so they're all pretty good.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Coach, good luck this season.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Coach, can you just share your overall thoughts on the preseason poll and being picked to finish tonight?
Yeah, it is what it is, right? You got to go play these games, and so we have our expectations of what we want to accomplish and what we want to do. We're shooting up every game to win the game, and so that's where we're at, and we'll control those things. And so, but the guys they're getting ready. I been away from them for a little bit. I miss them, but they're getting ready, and they know what the standard is this year, and so that's to go win every game.
And you mentioned being committed to Braden and finally getting a full season as the QB1, and so improving his skills. But can we expect to see even more in the offense this year now that he's really coming into his own?
Yeah, you want to be as consistent as possible, right? Your expectation is every drive that you get, you're trying to get in that end zone, and so it's no different. I think with time, I think the consistency will get there, and the continuity of his receivers, and so they've been doing that a lot, and they've been working hard on it. And so now it's just, when you get those 12 opportunities, you got to make them count.
Yeah, and just the last fun one for you. How was the trip to Canada? And I believe Sherry posted that it was the first time a couple of your younger ones they were able to meet see their grandparents out there in Canada. So just talk to us a little bit about that trip.
The further we moved west to coach, Nevada and now Hawaii, we haven't been able to get back. But me and her, we grew up 4,000 miles away, and she's special. My wife is special, and so it's the first time she got to be back in 5 years. The first time I got to be back in 8, and we had a great time. The kids didn't want to leave. The grandparents are sad, and their house is quiet now again, But I think we'll get, just seeing the family, and I don't think we can go another 8 years without seeing them again. And so we'll try to get out there sooner. And like Hawaii, family's everything to us. So.
Yeah, and then also being honored by the Hamilton Ticats.
Yeah, that was a pretty unique opportunity that I enjoyed, and it was in the making. They called me a year out, and they're like, "Hey, you're going to be back in town. We'd love to honor you." And so I gave them some dates that happened to fall right around media day and everything. And so it was the last 2 years. It's been our head down in the grind, and really no vacations for your family, and that's kind of what you put your family through a little bit, right? When you take over jobs and start rebuilds, you're in it. You're in it, and so it was really nice to get my kids out and getting them to Canada, and then really getting honored at Hamilton.